I may not need this mic to have pretty good pipe. Again, good morning, good morning. It's a blessing to be here. I want to first thank God for the gift of life and being an opportunity to be here with you all today, this momentous occasion. I have a background in corrections, and the other thing that we call an unusual occurrence. Somebody might remember those UORs, when something unusual happens. Well, this is what I would call an unusual occurrence. And it reminds me of Luke chapter 10. There was a man traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. And that man, he fell among thieves, and they robbed that man. They stripped him of everything that he had and left him half dead. And those who should have intervened, they feel their responsibility to intervene, the priest and the Levite. But there was a good Samaritan going the same way. They looked down with compassion. Someone who's unlikely to intervene. They intervened and poured into that man and built that man up. This is what we're experiencing today. This is what I would call an unusual occurrence. It's not every day that you see the Department of Correction making an investment like this, as we have made in these meetings. I want to give you all a round of applause for that. It's a blessing for you to be a part of something like this, to have the DOC chaplain staff with Dr. Sharp and her delegation. We have Ms. Tyra, Ms. Robin, we have Warden Wade, have our sheriff, Warden Cup, Warden Miller, Warden Deere, all the educational staff, all those who have been a part of this event, even the families and friends who came out. And since this is an unusual occurrence, instead of me asking them to stand, I'm going to ask you all to sit down. And those who are the beneficiaries of that deed, I want you all to stand if you don't mind. Exactly. Y'all give them a round of applause. This is unusual. This is unusual. And you all can sit down. We want to honor you all. Thank you so much for you all intervening and allowing these young men. I'm not going to be long. Y'all know I can be a little long-winded. So I'm going to give y'all an abbreviated version of a passage of scripture that we all are familiar with. The parable of the prodigal son. And I'm sure that you all can relate to being prodigal or being one who had went an alternative route. I gave the young men a little passage. We're going to read that passage. I'm going to read it. And we're going to go back, and as I would say, we can make it plain. Is that all right with y'all today? We're going to make it plain. They know what that means. That's a code word for me and God. We're going to make it plain this morning, very briefly. I'm going to read it. We're going to go back and we're going to dissect it. We hope to find ourselves in this parable. As we know, as I taught you on in class, a parable is something that's like an illustration. A physical illustration of something we can understand. It takes us to a higher spiritual understanding that we may not have. You're able to compare it. So we're going to read this passage and see can we compare you all's life to this parable and see can we have some insight as to what is taking place of this event. There was a man who had two sons. The younger one said to his father, "Father, give me my share of the estate." So he divided his property between them. Not long after, the younger son got together all he had. He set off for a distant country, and there he squandered his wealth with wild or riotous prodigal living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that country, and he began to be in want. So he went and hired himself on to a citizen of that country, who sent him to feed his pigs in a field. When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's servants have food to spare, and I am starving to death in want? I will set out and go back to my father. I'm going to say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants." So he got up and he went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him, and he was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. Then said his son to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father said to his servants, "Go quickly, bring out the best robe and put it on him." I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about this thought, the best robe. The best robe. As we know, robe is a covering. that we normally put on after we have had a cleansing process. Most of us, we get out of the shower, we get out of the tub, we put a robe on to cover ourselves. You all have on robes today. It's symbolic of covering something that needs to be hidden. Something don't need to be revealed. And we're going to go into detail as to what happened to this young man. Maybe you'll see yourself and understand the meaning behind this robe. You've been covered with a robe. This might be your best robe that you've been covered with. As the story goes, there was a younger son, meaning he was naive. And most times, if you're not 25, your brain not fully developed, like most of you all sometimes have been in a situation when you were younger, did things that you shouldn't have done. Some of you all here right now, when you were younger, you did some things. Your mind wasn't fully developed. It was his younger son. He asked for his share of the estate. He was premature, like a lot of you all were. Young, impatient. You can't wait, I want to get fast. Run. You know how you do it, right? I want fast, can't wait. I can make what you make in a month. I can make that in one day. You remember that, right? So that's the sign of you all being impatient. And so the father gave him the property, which he knew he wasn't really prepared to be able to utilize because he was immature. But I believe in my mind that the father had prayed that that son might have an experience to remind him of what he left. And hopefully the son will come back. Like Mama probably told you, I'm going to let the Lord handle you. You remember that? I'm going to let you go and wash my hands with you. But she prayed for you. And this is the answer to one of those prayers, whether you know it or not. That someone would take you in and look down on you with compassion. But not long after he got what he was supposed to get from the father, he went to a far country, as you all did. You went way away from what you were taught. Way away from your training. I don't care what you did. Somebody told you right from wrong. But you went away from that. You didn't want to live under that kind of covering. So you went way away from the understanding. And you squandered what you had. I mean, what you had of understanding and knowledge, you wasted it. There's a thing I teach in my class. We all know that the Bible says that my people are destroyed because of the lack of knowledge. And you all know you don't know the what? The ledge. You thought it was a lick. Isn't that right? But it was a ledge. You know, this is a ledge. And you walk and you fell off it because you thought it was a lick. You were immature. So you squandered what you had. When you weigh something, you fall down, it's like an accident. You wasn't intended to lose it, but you lost. So he squandered his wealth with wild or riotous living. And the root word of riotous is riot, meaning he was rebelling. He was protesting against what he had learned, similar to what you all had done. When he lost everything, he began to be in want. Why was he in want? He wasn't like a sheep. As we all in the 23rd Psalm say, I shall not want, because the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not what? Want. He was being a goat, like many of you have been, rebelling, going against what you know is right. So he was in want, as you are in want. Don't you want to go home? Don't you want to be free? Don't you want to wear your own clothes? You want to eat your own food? But you in want because you was what? Disobedient. You wasn't humble like a sheep and let that teaching guide and lead you and protect you. Okay? And he had to join himself on with the citizens of that country like you all had done. Out in the streets of that far country. You join yourself on somebody who's out there in that life, so to speak. They selling dope. They're doing whatever that you all are doing. And they took you in, so to speak. You thought they were your friends. They let you work out in your field. And a field is a field of endeavor. It's like a job. And you got a job, but it wasn't a conventional job. He said he was feeding pigs. Meaning this was a dirty, filthy, rotten, low-down thing he was doing. Something you never would have done. It was forbidden under his father's instructions. And he went away from that teaching. So he did some low-down, filthy, rotten things, feeding swine. But then he came to himself. Meaning he was other than himself, doing that kind of behavior. And he thought about it. He said, how many people that sit with my father, doing my father instructed, they doing well. Like many of you have thought about your homeboy. You might have seen him on the newspaper and on the TV. That's my homeboy right there. Same background, same situation. He resisted, but you succumbed and gave in to the temptation. Now, everything that you said you wanted, he had. He said, I thought about how many people that stay with my father, they got what they need and they got something to spare. That means he has a legacy, your homeboy. He got the house, he got the car, he got the fence. He He's leaving a legacy for his children. You start thinking about what kind of legacy am I leaving for my children to aspire to. So like you, when you've been here, you started thinking. He said, you know what, I'm going to get up out of this situation. I'm going to go back to my father and say, listen, I was wrong. Many of you have been there. When you was in the hole, you was in there crying, remember that? You were praying, said, Lord, I ain't going to do it no more. Now, one more time, remember that? And you were there. You made a commitment to yourself. I'm going to do it right this time. And you meant it. And the young man said, I'm going to go to my father and say, I was wrong, I'm worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your high servants. Either make me like the ones who did right. Help me to become like them. And you all say the same thing. So then the son is on his way to the father, as you were reading in the passage here. And the father recognized the son. Right out the hog pen. Still full of slop. Full of pills, full of drugs. He's not all the way together. He's on his way to the father. He's on his way back to that lifestyle, to that righteous way of life. Like you all have been. And the Father still recognizes you. Meaning that God still recognizes you no matter what your situation is. You're not all the way right, but you're on your way back, so He sees you. And so now it's going to be the test when you hit those gates. Right. Are you going to keep your commitment as to what you made when you were crying in that cell, in the hole, making a deal with yourself and God is going to be right this time? Yeah. So now the young man, he's about to go to the test. So the first thing he said, well, Father, I've sinned against heaven. I've sinned before you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. It's 2 for 2. But he said that he's going to ask the Father to make him like one of the high servants. But the Father, seeing the young man was serious, he didn't have to get to that point. The Father called it high servant. He never said make me like one of your high servants. So that means that God recognizes when you're really sincere, He intervenes when you really keep your commitment. So he said, listen, he called the servants. He said, put on the best robe. Now, best is a situation where it's a superlative. Okay, the first part is, you would say, you have to get the good, better, then best. Notice they said, put the best robe on him. That suggests to me that this young man been messing up before this last time. You just don't get your best. You go good, better, then best. So it's not the first go round, like it's not your first go round, most of you. You've been around this block more than once. And the first time you went down, oh, I'm going to do right this time. You remember that? It's over with. You broke my back. You remember that? And you messed up again. The Lord took you in the first time, gave you an opportunity, gave you a chance. You was okay for about, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, months, maybe a year. You fell down again. Came up with that same sad story. I'm sorry. I know I was wrong. I'm going to do better. He took you in again. He said, I'm going to put a better on this time. Like when you get baptized, and the first time it worked, they got to put you down there again, put some Clorox in the water next time. Remember that? So I got to do a little more this time. I got to put a better robe on. Because the first one didn't work. And the boy did it again. The third time. Went to God and said, okay, I'm going to take you in again. This time put the best robe on him. And this is what this represents. This is the best robe. This is your best chance to get it right. You got the backing of the whole Department of Corrections, the chaplaincy department, with Dr. Sharp and her delegation from DOC. We all are behind you, invested in you. Anytime you got a warden in a class teaching, I've seen the wardens teaching class. Y'all give them a round of applause for that. The wardens teaching class. And the chaplain, I mean, they really look at the staff of steps, Miss Stacy and her staff. I mean, we really committed to this thing. I've seen it change the morale in this community. It's a community. We all work together with, Captain Shaw, everybody, all the security staff, education staff, Ms. White, and Miss White and all the others, Ms. Butler. We all work together as a team. We've invested in you. We look down on you with judgment. We look down on you with compassion, like the Good Samaritan. We deposit something inside of you. So I want you to know, this might be your best chance to get it right. We count on you. We need you to survive. You're the best that we have. You are the answer to the prayers. So realize what you are and who you are. We need you to go out and do well. And I know that you all have been misguided as I close. And some of y'all thought you had to come to jail to prove your manhood. I understand. It's like a rite of passage because the community didn't really develop you the way you should. So we understand. Some of y'all think you're not a man until you come to jail. That's a misconception. So I wrote a little poem that I'm going to share with y'all to really explain what it really means to be a real big man. Now, you all are not good at what you did. Whatever you did to come here, brother, that's not your strong suit. I'm sorry, but you can try something different. You ain't good at stealing, you ain't good at robbing, selling dope, breaking houses, stealing cars. Look, that ain't your strong suit. So you halfway there. You may not know what it is, but you know what it ain't, tell the truth. Brother, make it plain. We're going to make it plain. It's not what you're good at, brother. You're not being yourself. You're not going to ever get this right. You're going to keep trying. We're going to be right here waiting on you. Tell the truth. We'll be here. You're not going to ever be good at this. Be yourself. Since you didn't know yourself, we try to teach you who you were from God's perspective. So since you don't know what you should do, we're going to teach you through this poem. We're going to give you what a big man is not. So that means you'll know what a big man is. But I need you all to help me as I recite this poem. When I say a real, I want you all to say big man. Let's give it a try. A real big man. Y'all say it loud now. Let's try one more time. A real big man. Here we go. A real big man is not big because of the size of the clothes he wears. He is big because he said, I love you, and he can show how much he cares. A real big man. He don't walk around all day with house slippers on his feet. He toils the soil. He's a father to his boys. He works for every meal that he eats. A real big man. He don't hang around dark corners looking for someone to rob. He fills in the gap, take up his family's slack by holding down a job. A real big man. He don't wait for a check to come out on the 1st and the 15th. Because he's too busy working to make sure his ship don't sink. A real big man. He don't beat his woman and try to control her with his fist. He makes her wait, bring home the pay, then she automatically submits. A real big man. He don't look for his woman to take care of him like he's a pimp or a max. Nor does he lie around gaining pounds like a baby sucking Similac. A real big man. He runs more than his shoes over in his mouth. And he's now 30 years old and still living in his mama's house. Thank y'all so much. Love y'all. Make it plain.